Hey guys, I'm Kristen with ICStarsQuilting.com. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. I want to show you something today that I get more questions about than anything else on my channel. And that is this little baby right here behind me. Now, whenever I rearrange my sewing room or I kind of try and change up things in the background, or, I get an itch to just change something in the house, I move things around. And as soon as I pull this baby out, I get a ton of questions about it. So today I'm going to show you how I made it, detailed footage of the actual case itself, and how you can make one too. I also have on my blog a post where I share the step-by-step written directions for how I made the sewing machine cover. So actually what this piece started out with was I had a paper piecing pattern that I downloaded, and I will put a link in the description box down below so that you can go and find this paper piecing pattern, and I loved it. But after I finished it, I kind of quickly realized I didn't want to make an entire quilt out of all of these paper piecing patterns because it was just a fun project to experiment with paper piecing. But the more that I looked at it, the more I realized it kind of was about the same size as my actual sewing machine was, right? You can see that it has this lovely rainbow sewing machine silhouette on it with needle. Here is the top of it, which has a little hole for my handle to pop out. It has more of these pins that I've added to it. And I even added a little pin cushion up there with a spot for a charm because I wanted some sunshine to my rainbow. Honestly, I don't keep pins up there. That's a cute little button that's on top right there. I don't keep pins up here because, I'm afraid that I will lose one and it'll pop out. But I did go ahead and make some little sunshine rays on there. I really got to play with the different stitches on my machine. I played with adding piping in here, actually adding some different colors. And that's why I say there's not really a pattern for this, because y'all, I just made it up as I went. So I added a little bit here on the bottom. I added some decorative stitch down there just for fun. And yes, this is kind of old, so it's a little bit sadder than it was in my other days. Plus, I've also added all these pins that really weigh it down. Okay, so here is a little bell just to give it some sound and some jingle. Here is a charm that was given to me by my mother. All of the buttons that are on here and the charms are actually from my grandmother. So she gave me this big tin of all of these extra buttons that she has kept over the years, right? She's kept all of these buttons over the years, and I took them out because I didn't know what I was saving them for exactly. But there's some pretty antique buttons on here. There's just some normal buttons, but I found a way to incorporate them and make sure that, I had a little bit of her wherever I went and wherever I sewed. So she was not a big sewer, but I did put her old buttons to some good use. The back of this is, again, just a fun play on some scrap rainbow fabric that I have. I think I actually raided a friend's stash too to make sure that I got all of my pretty rainbow colors in here. I played with some zigzag stitching, straight stitching. Okay, this is actually the first professional quilting machine that I got, and we're gonna look at the inside of this case too. But this is my Janome 3160 QDC sewing machine. If you are looking for a slight upgrade to your standard sewing machine, I love this machine. I still sew with this whenever I go on retreats. I still sew on this whenever I take it to a friend's house to sew, any project. I travel with this machine. For comparison, this is my home machine that is a much bigger surface as far as comparing hand to hand, and has a lot more options on it. And this girl is heavy. Okay, she's heavy. We don't like to take her in lots of different places because she is heavy and a lot to take on. But this machine right here, she is sturdy and she does a good job on everything that I have sewn with her. So I decided to make her a cover because I didn't like that big ugly plastic cover that came with her. Okay, Now, I want to show you the inside of this, and then I will show you how I made this so that you can make one too. Ta-da! Real fancy, isn't it? Y'all, you ask me all the time, like, how did I make this? How does it look so professional? How is it just, like, how do you make one? Well, this is it. This is the inside. My seams are raw, okay? And I have never had a problem with this in, oh, I don't know. Like I said, 7 or 8 years. Now, I did zigzag stitch really, really close to the edge here so that it would kind of stay together. If you have a serger machine, that is another really amazing option. But it's just raw on the inside. I do have fabric and batting, and as I was doing like my pockets, which hold a lot of fun little stickers and things in there for when I happen to see somebody out, I just kind of quilted it. All right, so it's got a lot of quilting to it, not a ton, because it doesn't really need to like stay together. So let me show you how I got started on actually making this. I measured the front of my machine and I measured the side of my machine. And then I added a little bit to give it a little bit more room, and I didn't want it to fit like so tight. There was only one way it could go. So I added a little bit more room. So I just kind of created a box, and then I did quilt binding around the bottom of it. I added these little, I guess you could call them little bits of flare or like the piping in there. I feel like this warrants like saying, you know, face to face, you and me here. Those little bits and bobs, those piping areas on the sides of it, the little bits of shininess that I added to it, the different colors, the different patterns and textures and all of that. That is all elements of illusion. Elements of illusion in the quilting world can mean a lot of things, but for this particular project, I knew those seams weren't going to be perfect. I know that they would bother me in the long run if it wasn't perfect. And I was really trying to just go over the top. I was playing with different skills. I was using this as an opportunity to try things out, to play with it. Because, you know, that's what I do, right? That's what we all do. We just want to play with things. So that's what I did with that. I just added those little things in there, tested out things that I wanted to do. There's no way, shape, or form that I needed to make this perfect. It was just for me, and it was just to play with. So that's what those little bits are for. You will never see all of my mistakes unless I point them out to you specifically, because I don't want you to. I don't want you to see the mistakes that I made. So let's look at a few more pieces on this machine. I started making a list. Well, I want a little pocket over here for scissors. I want a clip here if I want to add like keys or something else to it when I'm traveling. I definitely want a bigger pocket over here that is nice and tall so that I can add, you know, scissors, rotary cutter, anything else like that, so that when I'm ready to go, I can just take this and I'm ready to go. I have everything in here. Aside, of course, from the cords and the extended table and all of that. That wasn't in my thinking originally, but I added pockets. I added all the pockets to the back so that I have plenty of places to store my projects, okay? Now, one thing that I was kind of concerned with is the top was very plain, right? Not a whole lot going on here, but I knew that I needed a space for my handle. Oh, y'all, this is something that like I experimented with on multiple occasions and I didn't know what else to do with it. So, y'all, I put it on my machine. I traced out where the handle would go, and then I used my scissors and I just cut through it. Then I did a zigzag stitch around it. It's not perfect. I'm sure I probably could go back in there and I could add some binding to it to make it perfect. I could make it a little bit prettier. I could do ribbon. I could do all kinds of things here. But you know what? It works. And I haven't ever had the desire to change it again because I really do like what I created, right? And this is a good symbol of, hey, you can make whatever you want in the quilting world. If it doesn't exist, create it, right? This little piece on here is actually like a little pin cushion. I have a couple like emergency safety pins should I need them. It has this cute little button, which I told you the buttons are like from my grandmother's stash, and then a couple little cute charms and things that I have gotten as gifts from other people are stored on here as well. And so it's just kind of like this little memory piece here. And then there's a pocket in here which I normally keep like scissors, or if I have like an extra bobbin of thread or something like that, I put it in there. Okay, going to the other side here is another pocket. This was some rainbow fish fabric that has a little bit of a glitter to it, if you can see it. It was just a fat quarter that I had. So all of this fabric that I used on this is actually just scrap fabric that I had laying around. And I'm going to show you, I added another taller pocket in here because, you know, why not, right? I added a cute little ruler charm on here from the Gadget Girls. And then I added, because, you know, pockets are everything for us girls, I added another pocket on the back, and I embroidered an Icy Stars quilting patch on the back. So this is what I take with me when I go and I sew other places. I've thought about making another one for my big sewing machine, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it because it does have this big table. And if I take the table off, it still comes out to like here-ish. And I don't know, I don't travel with it very often, so it'd be more like a dust cover, I suppose, than it would be like an actual big giant carrying case for it. If you have questions about this project, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. Let me know if you are interested in making your own sewing machine cover. If this is something that you would be interested in doing a workshop or a class on, because I would love to teach this to you and help you walk through the steps to make your own sewing machine cover as well. I actually think that that would be really fun. Maybe we should do that. Yeah, let me know what you think about that. I hope that you are having a great day today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Make sure you hit that like button down at the bottom underneath this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe video. It means a whole lot to me. I'm happy to keep answering your questions. I'm Kristen with icystarsquilting.com. I'll see you next week on my channel, same time, same place. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.